Hey, good day, everybody. It's Myers Jackson. I'm going to introduce Corporal Don Graves, survivor of the Battle of Iwo Jima. He wants to tell y'all a few words.
Thank you so much. Today is the anniversary. It was a great battle, Iwo Jima. We left Hawaii, went to oh my gosh, what is the name of the island? We went to one of the islands, and it's all B-52 was on it. But they were getting shot down when they head for Tokyo because they were bombing back and forth. So there was an island called Iwo Jima that sat right in the middle. And they were notifying Tokyo when they were coming over. And they would shoot a few of us down. So the idea that President Roosevelt had and Admiral Nimitz, my buddy, my admiral, said they got their heads together. We've got to remove Iwo Jima, and we can fly directly there and back and shorten the war. And it happened that way. But it was a tough battle, and it cost a lot. So we got the word that we're going loaded for bear from Hawaii. Didn't know where we were going. Had no idea. Never heard of the island. Nobody did. So we're coming through the lagoon, through the harbor, through Pearl. Saw where the Arizona was. Oil all over the water. So we went out of that into the ocean, and we took off for about a week and a half. We winded up by Saipan. Saipan is where they had the B-52s. That was the direct flight to Tokyo to here. So we had no idea where we were going. Nobody ever heard of Iwo Jima. Nobody. It was never known. But the president knew, and his cabinet. Well, we got there, we got off of a transport, and we loaded LSTs. Now, LST handles down below 6 amphibious tractors that'll carry Marines in each one. And out the mouth you go, and you rally around. When the Commodore drops the flag, in you go, wave for wave for wave. So anyway, we loaded up on the LST, and we take off for Iwo, which we didn't know. One day out, they brought up clay models of the island, and they told us where we were going, what we were going to do. Above all, if you can take prisoners, take them. We don't know what's going on that island, but we know there's roughly 2,000 Japanese on there. And he said, we know nothing about what's going around. We know that we've bombed and bombed for 72 days, and we haven't hurt them one bit. So they must be underground, which we really didn't know for sure. So that was it. Next morning, we got up at 5 o'clock in the morning. They had chow brought up. What do you think they fed us? Steak and eggs.
Hey.
Now, we had a lot of eggs.
Yeah, well.
But we never had a steak in the Marine Corps. They never gave us a steak. And so we had a steak, and there's a kid next to me, and I said, hey, buddy, what's with the steak and eggs? He said, Graves, use your head. What do they give a convict before they execute him? I said, I got you. And then the next morning, we were there. They were flying over the kamikazes. The whole sea battle was on, and we were right. They never bothered to transport. I said, I don't understand it, because we were loaded with Marines. Well, all of a sudden we got word down below. Load your carrier. We got in each one. Probably a squad or two in each one. Out the mouth we went, rallied around in circles. Oh, there were 200 of us. Rallied around like this, and then the Commodore dropped the flag, and we headed in, wave for wave for wave, right in. I was on the left by Mount Suribachi. We hit Green Beach 1, right next to it. We were to take that thing, and then reconnoiter and go to Hill 362A and take that, and keep going north all the time. The 5th Division Now the third and fourth was on the right side. They handled the airstrips in there. So we hit the beach. You had to crawl over your buddies, alive or dead. Over on my right, not too far away, was John Bassalone got hit killed from a sniper. And that word traveled. That bothered us. It was just a massacre. 200 kids we got killed on that beach in 2 hours. We finally made it up to the top because we called for support from the Navy. And the Navy just hammered away right over. We could almost feel the big projectile coming over. 12 inches coming, swoosh, 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 and hitting the ground. That gave us time to get up off the beach and start heading to the left, Mount Suribachi. When I got up to the beach, I turned around. I had a flamethrower on my back, 72 pounds. 2 kids were supposed to help me if I fell. They're supposed to be with me. They have rifles. I have a .45. I can't use a rifle. I got up off the beach. We got up towards the top. I don't have them. They're gone. So I'm alone. I make a left turn to Suribachi, which is 545 feet. We got there in 3 days. 545 feet. But before we got there, I dove in a hole with that flamethrower, shell hole. The Air Corps made the best tailor-made foxhole a Marine ever crawled into. 3 men if you could get it. I went down in the hole. And I just snuggled down. It was starting to get dark. And I looked across and I said, there's a Marine across the way there. And he's leaning right towards Suribachi with his M1. And I says, hey, Mac, what outfit you in? We were all mixed up. I said, what outfit are you in? Didn't answer. So I kind of wiggled over to grab him, and I noticed the bottom half of his body was on that side. I got out of that hole. I crawled into another one, snuggled in there during the night, all alone. That's one scary night for me. I mean, everybody was on their own. Finally, the next day I got up, took off, and I saw a Japanese soldier run across the front of me. He went down in a hole. And I thought, hey, if he comes running out with some of the rest of them, I'm not going to get them all. Then all of a sudden I heard, hey, Graves, hold up, I'll be with you. A buddy of mine, he couldn't find his outfit. So I said, come on, join me. So he was with me. He had hand grenades. And I said, I just saw him jump in that hole. He said, well, I'll go over and throw a couple of grenades there. No, wait, we've got to take prisoners if we can. Let's see if we can talk them out. Meanwhile, they're fighting right there at the base of Suribachi. So I said, Detakoi, come, Surround Shaki, flamethrower. Nothing. I did it 2 or 3 times, nothing. So I said, okay, let's approach it. We took 1 step. He came up out, and he had a plume hat on, a beautiful sword, and a beautiful uniform. And the first thing I saw was that sword. And I said to Johnny, I said, that sword is mine. You can have it. He come up out of the hole, he stood in front of us. He had his hand on his sword, his other hand on his chest. And I said, Detakoi, come. Kohando Shaki, I'll use the flamethrower. He just looked at me, and then all of a sudden, boom! He's gone. Blew himself to pieces. He took the sword with him. I didn't get the sword. Yeah. So we pressed on and got to the base of Suribachi, and that was a tough one. They were holding up right at the base. They came out of caves on the bottom. Oh, it was something. We had bar rifles lined up there. Those things hammer away. We finally broke them up, and we could start crawling up Suribachi. When I'm crawling up, we had no idea of a flag. That was not in the picture. My battalion commander, on the transport he was on, the skipper of the ship gave him the flag. He said, Colonel, would you put this up for me on on the mountain there. If you get up there, I'd appreciate it. Yeah, he said, I'll do it for you. So he tucked it in his jacket. So we're working our way up Mount Suribachi, and a squad moved around the left that he had told to go up. And he said to Harold Schreier, lieutenant, he said, put this up for me if you can find something to put it up, if you can get it. We knew nothing about a flag. They went up around the left, they got up on top, they had a skirmish, they killed a few. They started working on that flag. We got to the top, and as we crossed over towards it, it starts going up. And we said, what the heck, they put the flag on? I found out, what do you think it is? That flag that everybody sees, that mast is drain pipe.
Drain pipe.
Drain pipe. It lay on top, and they would catch rainwater and run the water down into pails. They had no water.
Right.
Yeah, we did. We purified our water. I couldn't believe it. And there it was. And boy, did the ships out there in the bay, they opened up in the air with tracers. It was a... You ever seen 4th of July in New York Harbor?
Yes.
That's what it looked like. But it only infuriated them, and they fought twice as hard. Yeah. But the thing is, we put our flag for the first time in history on Japanese soil, and they didn't like it. But here's the sad thing. 6 months later, they asked the President of the United States if they could remove that flag. He let them do it. So I went back 8 years ago, 8 or 9 years ago, and they drove up there. We rode up on a Jeep. So we got out, and the CBs had a concrete slab with two beautiful flagpoles. On the left flag was a Japanese. On the left pole was a Japanese flag. On the right was a bear ball. That's where our flag was, the original flag. Now, what happened to it? I have no idea. Maybe Smithsonian. I don't know. We don't know. We've never heard what happened to that original flag. We don't know. But that's the flag story.